dash of Dave, he brings the cheer. Crafty wonders year to year. Scissors, glue, and ribbons dear. Handmade holidays appear. Old-time charm with modern...
Hi everyone, it's Dash of Dave here again. I'm back for another crafty video. So, today we are going to make one of these. So, these are little boxes. Undo like this. You take this out like this, and then they open up like this. And they're perfect for little gifts and things. So the reason I put this together is because it's a box that lots of people know how to make. I've just slightly tweaked it a little because, you know me, I like to make it a little different in some way. Yeah, so it's a little box, and the reason I wanted to do it is because I've got a lot of little gifts I want to give this year, and I thought you might also have some gifts at any time of year, and I thought you might want to see how to make it. So what we're going to do is you need a piece of card that measures, and it does need to be card. It's not something you can really do with paper. You just need it a bit more sturdy. You don't want it to be too sturdy. These were made out of file folders. Okay, so this one is just the same color as this. It's just that I've inked this one. So you need to have a piece that measures 4.5, okay, by 6. Okay, so we're just going to cut that piece down. So this is going to be 4.5 by 6, and we're going to... So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of card, and then with the 4.5 across the top, we're going to put it on our scoreboard, okay, and we're going to score it at, let me just get my scoring tool, burnisher. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to score it, that's with the short edge, 4.5 across the top. I'm going to score it at 1.5, so 1.5, and then at 3. Okay, so these measure 1.5 inch square. Okay, so now you've done that, now you need to turn it round so you've got the 6 inches across the top. So this is the 6 inches here, and now what you want to do is you want to score this at 3/4 of an inch. Just trying to see where my 3/4 of an inch is there. 3/4 of an inch. You also want to score it at 2 1/4, so that's 2 1/4. You want to score it at 3 3/4, 3 3/4. You want to then score it at 5 1/4, so that's my 5 1/4. Okay, so now without taking it off, what you want to do is you're now going to do 2 score lines across this top bit. So don't take it off. You're going to do 2 score lines that only come down to this first score line, so this first horizontal score line, and you're going to do 1 1/4, that's my 1 1/4, just down to that first score line, and then you're going to do the next one at 4 3/4, so that's my 4 3/4, just down to that first line. Then you're going to take it off, rotate it 180 degrees, so it's now with the other side of the 6 inch across the top, and we're going to do those measurements again. So 1 1/4, just down to the first line, and 4 3/4, just down to the first line. Okay, now what I want you to do is take it off. That's the scoring done, and I want you to put all of those score lines in, except for the ones that don't go all the way through. So all the ones that go all the way through the card, I want you to score in, and as you're scoring them in, you just want to make sure that your cardboard lines itself up. It doesn't buckle too much or doesn't move around from those lines. So you just want to straighten it up if it's a bit wonky, pinch it into place, and then just score those lines in. So you just want to do all of those. That's just the ones that go all the way through the card, but not the ones that just stop at that first score line. You're not going to worry about those. You're going to bend that over. That's one. Score it in. Okay, so then we're going to do the ones going this way as well. So again, just making sure it's nice and straight. Score that in. And then this one, again, nice and straight. And score it in. Okay, so now when we've got it open, okay, so those score lines, not so easy to see on this card, but there's one here, there's one here, there's one here and one here, okay? So, for some reason, they are not the same measurements. Never mind, I will cut them where they're supposed to be. So, what you need to do is you need to cut on that score line, just up to that first, cut that score line up just onto that first score line, cut that score line up just to that first score line. Turn it round and just do the same again. To the first score line, to the first score line. It was a one. I think I went 1/8 of an inch over on one of them, but never mind. So now what I'm going to do is you just need to turn it round so you've got the 4-inch across the top, so that you've cut those bits in, and this is now looking a bit strange, okay, for a box. What you first want to do is you want to just fold that bottom panel in and then just cut up. Don't cut this bit, just cut up on there, and you're making this flap free. But this is not a tab, so don't cut it tab shaped. What you do want to do is you just want to cut that score line off, and that's because this forms one of the sides of the boxes, so it's going to fold in like this and then shape this way. And what you're doing is you're just cutting that little bit of excess out that will bend it out. So you can see here I've just cut a small channel there. Okay, I'm going to do the same again on the other side. I'm going to cut that up and then just cut the score line off. So you're only cutting a tiny amount out. So again, I'll just hold that underneath so you can see. So it's just a very tiny channel that I've cut out. That's what you want to do. So again, we're going to turn it round and we're going to do the other side. So again, cut that bit out, cut the score line off, and take that piece out. So look how tiny that piece of cardboard is, and that's all we want to do is just cut that score line off. Okay, and another piece of card, pull that bit out. Okay, so now we've done that, what we want to do is we want to come to these sides now. So we're going to start at this top bit. I'm going to bend all of this down so that we can get to these parts. Now this is a tab, so we're going to cut this up. Just let me cut this out and move this all out of the way. We're going to cut this up to that score line, and then we're just going to cut a little tiny triangle out of there, because that's forming our tab. So that's a tab that side, and we're going to make this into a tab. So again, cutting it up, that first score line, cutting a tiny triangle out just on either side. So now what we've got, let me just lay this back out again so you can see. So we've got this tiny little channel here, for these are not tabs, but these are tabs, and so they've been shaped accordingly. So we're going to do the same again on this side. Fold all that away while you do this. Cut up that score line and take a little chunk out and do a chunk off that side. And then hold all of that in, cut up that score line, and then cut a chunk out and do the same again on that side. Okay, so now we've got the same either side. Now what you want to do, this is the point where it's much easier. If you're going to ink this, do the inking now. So much easier to do it now than try and do it once the box is done. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and I will come back to you. Now I've done all of that inking. Now what we're going to do is going to form the box. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the basics for you first. These are the thing that forms the internal box, and these are the thing that forms the external box. So this part here, this T shape, is part of the external box, and so's this. So that's the cover side of things. So what you want to do is, it would seem logical to make this first and then make this afterwards, but actually you want to do it the other way round, because that way then you know that this is going to sit round this without it looking ridiculous. Now what I mean by that is, I'm just going to fold these all out of the way. You won't need to do this, but I'm going to do it so that you can see. This edge is going to curve round to here, and it's going to create a little box shape here. So whenever you're making a box, like when you're gluing it together like this, and it's an outer panel, you want to make sure that you can still see the fold. So the little fold that goes around the corner, just as you could see here, it's got a smooth fold here, and it needs to have a smooth fold here. So we're going to make these bits, because if you had made this bit first and this was a little bit big, then when you put this together to get it to sit round there, you might end up with it looking more like this, and that's just going to look a little bit distracting to the eye. Okay, so we're going to make this bit first, and then we're going to make the other bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold this all out of the way, just so you can see what I'm doing. This panel is going to go inside this edge here. Okay, so I'm going to glue it, and I'll show you. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you put a line of glue along the edge first, and then just a little bit of glue on the rest of it, and then making sure that everything's out of the way, you're going to curve this round, and we're going to sit this on there. So we want to sit it so that we can still see the corner of it, and it feels smooth to the touch if you run your finger down there. There's not like an overhang where it's got a very sharp edge. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. So that's on one side, and we're going to do this side now. So again, I'm just going to move all of this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So a line of glue down here and all over this panel. Okay, and then we're going to curve it around there. We're going to glue it down so that we can still see the edge of it, and it forms that nice smooth edge there. Okay, and we're going to do the other side. Okay, so what I mean by a smooth edge is if we glued this and it was glued too far in, you'd feel the edge of the card rather than the corner of the box, and that's what I want you to make sure you can still feel, is that corner. So we can glue that down again on the inside, tuck it in, get rid of all of those things out of the way, and again we want to make sure that we can still feel that corner. Oh, that's glued too far in. Still feel the corner there. Great. So then once it's in place, you can pinch it and stick it down, and we're going to do this final piece here. Again, glue along that edge on the tab, tuck it in, and then make sure that you can still see the corner if you can, and it feels smooth when you run your finger down it, then pinch it into place. Okay, so they're the outer side of the boxes. Now what we want to do is we want to glue these bits in. So these overlap and they glue together like this. But the best thing to do is not to glue it like just glue it together, because you don't know that this is going to sit round it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a panel, we're going to put a little bit of glue on the inside of it, just on the edge, because we don't know how much overlap we've got. We're going to put it in, sit it in place, but not actually glue it, so no pinching of the gluing yet. You're going to curve this box up and then make sure that it sits inside, and once it sits inside, then you can pinch that bit into place, and that way then you know that this wrap of this box covers the inner box without it buckling or jarring in any way. So once that's done, you can pinch it into place, and then when you take it off, you'll feel that it actually just sits on there nicely. It just curves around it. If it was glued too wide, what you'd find is this would be really difficult to bend up because it would drag on the outside of it all the time. Okay, except for that hasn't glued down, so because my glue is misbehaving. My glue does not like me, or it doesn't like the British weather, I don't know. Barely Art's, what is it called? Barely Art is anti-British. So, it's, it's anti-British weather. So, there we go. Let's just do that and then pinch it into place. I think it's just because it's too cold here, so... I find the same thing happens with art glitter glue, to be fair. I find the stuff that we make here is okay. It's because it's made to be used in the UK, I guess. So that's what I will be refilling these with, I think. So I actually, to be fair, I think all PVA. This is going to sound really controversial, but I think a lot of the high-tack PVA glues are just as good as the others. I've had lots, and I can't really tell the huge amount of difference. Okay, so once we've done that, what you'll find is it doesn't quite meet in the middle. Okay, that's because this hinge is this. Normally, you'd make the lid to be slightly bigger than the base, but because it's all made out of one piece of card, you can't do that. So what we're going to do in order to cover that is, this is my little twist. We're just going to put a little panel inside it. Okay, so we've got a panel that just sits across here, and I'll show you how to make that. Okay, we're just going to take a piece of our card and we're going to cut a bit off. And it doesn't need to be very wide at all. We're talking about, I don't know, whatever that is. A third of an inch, maybe. Okay. And then we're going to just measure it. So what you want to do is you just want to sit it just inside, so it just catches just inside the lid. Okay, let's do that so that it does. Okay. And then what you want to do is you just want to pencil mark it. So this is not a measuring thing. This is just a quick cheat thing. You're going to sit that just inside there, and you're just going to pencil mark so the pencil mark sits just inside the box. And we're just going to cut that off. And then we're going to snip these into a rounded corner. Just on one side. You don't need it, so like as in both corners of one side. You don't need it on the other side because the other side is going to glue inside. So we're just going to ink all of this down so that it's the same colour as the outside. And then we're going to glue a little line of glue just down the straight edge being the side that you didn't cut the corners of. And we're going to pop that inside there. And we're just going to have it so that it just overhangs a little. And that way then, that will just cover up that little gap that you get. That's to stop the recipient peeking inside to know what they've got before they've even got it. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make a little hole using my crocodile. Oh, that didn't stick properly. Again, didn't stick. Doesn't like me. Maybe it's just me. It doesn't like. You know, I have no idea why it doesn't do it, but it doesn't all the time. So I'm just going to pinch that into place again. Pinch it, and stick this time. Sticky stick. Or not. I tell you what, why don't you just not stick? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give up with that. I'm going to use a bit of, oh dear, I left the lid off that. There's a little bit of this to come out. I'm going to put it on a piece of paper. There we go. I'm I'm just going to stick a bit of this on it, because that way then it will stick. Don't have too much on, Dave. Don't. Just throw it on the table, Dave. Okay, I'll stick that inside there like I was planning to do in the first place. Okay, move that out of the way, otherwise I'll stick my elbow in it. Okay, so then what that'll do is when you close this together, you close it together, that will just cover up that little gap when you tied it with string. And that way then you can't see what's inside, okay? So now what we're going to do is just going to make those holes. So I'm going to flip it round like this, and then just put a hole so that it sits inside the lid. Try and get it in the middle. Like that. So that one, and then we do the same on the other side. Okay, and because I like to make it look old, and like the hole has been there at the same length of time in the box, I'm just going to put a little line round there, like that, just a twist of the pointy bit of my sponge. Okay, so then that's going to sit like this. I'll sit in like that, and then all we need to do is we need to put some string on this. So I am going to use, I don't know, some plain, well, some coffee dyed string, I think. Can't use plain string. I nearly cut the wrong thing. This is my microphone wire. I nearly cut that. That's not what I want to do. Okay, so then you just feed it in from the bottom, and of course you can make this look as old or what it was, you know. You can make it look new. You could do this with just some plain card and put some panels on the outside, some decorative panels in some of your nice decorative papers. But I like mine to look a little bit grungy. I like mine to look a bit like it's been around a while. So then pull this together, and then when you pull it together, you'll find that that little gap covers itself up. Let's just tie that string. So when you pull it together, it covers that gap, and then you can just make your bows. I'm sure you're better at tying a bow than I am. I won't tell you how many years it took me to learn to tie my shoelaces, although apparently that's quite a typical autistic thing that takes us a long time to get that. So there we go. So it's a little box, and then of course you can go in and make it more inky and do what you like. On these I just stuck some Tracy Fox labels, and I also wrote a little bit of like a thing to say this way up, and this one says handled with care, and then this one has got just a couple of stamps and a handled with care on. This one I made slightly differently. Instead of doing the string, what I did was, this was just like a prototype, just put a wrap of a faux ribbon around it. I did make the holes because I wasn't sure whether I was going to do this or not, and then that just sits around the outside like that, and it looks like a ribbon. So nice and easy to make, nice little way to just give a nice gift at Christmas. If you find that, so I'm just going to tell you a little quick tip. If you find that this box inside is interfering with it getting close to each other, just pinch in the sides, and that way then when you press this in, it bends the sides in a little, which means it's much easier to kind of tie it together. Okay, so that's nice little box for you, great for like just giving little trinkets, or just little, you know, you could fill it with sweets. These are called love hearts because, you know, because I love you all without exception. And these are nice little fizzy sweets. These are very retro, very much from my childhood. I used to say things like "be mine." You'd give it to you'd leave it surreptitiously on somebody's desk that you liked at school and that sort of thing. So there you go. So that's just a nice little box that you can make. A nice, quick and easy thing. I'm filming this on Sunday the 15th of December, and I'm currently trying to wrap presents. So I've got a couple of things that I've bought for people that are teeny tiny, not teeny tiny in price, but teeny tiny in stature. And I thought, well, I need a nice little box. Like to make something a little bit different. You know me, I like a different box. So this is just another little take on a Denison box. You could absolutely see somebody from, Victorian Edwardian times sending their wares in a little box like this. So I'll just recut that because it's now a bit shorter. And there you go. So that's just something that you can give a go of, make, might, help out with this time of year, or basically any time of year when you're giving a nice little gift, you might want to put it in a box like that. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, my name is Dash of Dave, and I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. And I'm going to tell you a little secret, just a little secret between us two. This is the third time I've recorded this. The first time I didn't have my mic on. Second time I didn't press record. So I've got a few boxes now. So I only need 2. So anyway, yeah, thanks very much for watching. My name is Dasher Dave. I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now. Take care. Love you lots. And I'll see you very soon. Oh, by the way, not sure if there's going to be a video on Christmas Day. This is going out on Monday the 23rd. Just because I've got a lot of stuff to do, and also I want you guys to spend time with your family and your friends and not with me. So save the time for me for Friday the 27th when I'll be back for another video. All right then, take care folks. Lots of love. Lots of hugs. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.